In a world full of problems, trust me on this one, there is a so called problem, quote, end of quote, that I don't think too many of us would mind having. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More with Jan channel. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well as always. Not sure how long this video will run because, to be honest with you, it is rather cut and dry. Now, I have shown you in the long time past. In fact, it was one of the first videos that got a little bit of attention when I first started my channel. I started talking about the cash envelope system. And recently, I went on and did another video mentioning the importance for many people to use this as a guide, as a helper, a cash envelope system. And it has gotten so sophisticated from the time that I started using the cash envelope system. When I did it, I used like actual envelopes, like stationary envelopes, didn't matter. I manually labeled them just with a pen, and we're talking about like a long time ago, back in the early middle 80s, it was. Yeah, when I was teaching. And I kept everything as simple as possible. Did the method still work? Absolutely. Tried and true. Does the method still work? Yes. It's just a little more fancier, if not really, really beautiful. They have beautiful things to go with it. But that's not what I want to talk about. The reason why I'm mentioning the cash envelope system here is about a little bit of a problem, so called, that some people might have when using the cash envelope system. You want to know what it is? What's that, Janet? What do you do if you have any leftover cash? Ah, is that really a bad problem? I don't think so. Did you say leftover cash, Janet? Yes, I did. And oftentimes when we plan a budget, whether we divide it up into envelopes or we do it on some sort of a software system, because we are more aware of our numbers, okay, and because we work within the parameters of the envelopes or whatever you're doing, way to divide up the monies, you oftentimes come out with a little bit extra. Now that, I mean, little bit is relative to the person. Okay. For example, if a person that has bigger numbers, they manage to get, let's say, $20 left over at the end of the month. Maybe to that person, it's not such a big deal. But to the person who has like a tinier budget to work with, and they come up ahead of at the end of the month with extra money, which, by the way, kudos, congratulations, and that's for anyone with a budget, no matter what your income. If you come out on the positive end, please give yourself a kudos. I mean it. I seriously mean it. And I congratulate your diligence in taking care of those matters and taking it seriously. Really, congratulations. But the question lies, what do you actually do with it? Well, of course, that's relative to your situation. Okay. So, did you ever think that having a little extra cash can be like a question? Yeah. Well, actually, it really, really is. Now, a lot of people do that. What do you call that? I always forget the name. The zero budgeting method. It's probably something that I do, but I don't call it that. I just call it paying my bills, but that's Janet. I'm goofing on it. It works for people. Okay. The method is perfect. In my opinion, the method is perfect. Okay. I just get a little hung up on the number zero, which is actually not a number, right? I forget. Is it or isn't it? I don't think so. Technically, I don't know. Put me down for she doesn't know. All right. I don't have to know everything. I don't know everything. And I'm not going to pretend I do. I do not know everything. I'm just saying. All right. So what happens if you have extra cash at the end of the month? Here are some suggestions. Okay. One would be debt repayment. Now, technically, in my honest, if a person has debt that has to be paid, are they really having any extra money at the end of the month? I tend to lean towards, I would consider that a no, but that's just me. That's the way, that's my opinion. That's my thought. Don't write it down. It's not in stone. But doesn't it make sense if there's, let's say there is that $30 or $20 so-called extra, right? Literally extra, in your cash envelope system or budget. Apply that plus the minimum payment that you're going to make in the debt repayment mode would be my method of choice. This is what I would do. Something to think about. You don't have to do it. Nobody has to do anything. Just a suggestion here, a thought, a thought, a thought, a thought. All right. So, okay, so that's one thought. Okay. Next, the other thing is analyze your current month and the month that well, actually, your current month is finished because you have the monies left over. Okay. Analyze your upcoming month. Review it. Review it. Are there any occasions, special occasions going on that may be requiring gifting of some sort? That's a thought. Yep, yep, yep. Perhaps you could apply that monies to something of that nature. Okay. So again, this is where it gets tricky and hairy. So, is there something coming up? Another thought, and I always love this thought, adding it to your emergency fund. So if you don't need it for debt repayment, okay, if you don't have a special occasion coming up, here's a thought to ponder, to consider, or to actually do, and put those monies towards an emergency fund as you build it up, build it up, build it up, or your general savings account. Okay, just saying, just saying. All right. So as always, if you could have your savings, no matter what your savings are, if possible, put it in a higher yield account. In my opinion, makes the most sense to me. Um, this happened to me a few years ago. Yeah, a few years ago, one summer when I was teaching, because teachers, by the way, in the school where I was, we still got paid for our summers. So our summers were fully funded. Nice. 2.5 months. Not much of a pay that teachers make, but at least in that system back in the day. But we were paid half of the summer in advance, and the following in midsummer, you got a check around I don't know, somewhere near July or August, and then the one closest to the end of the summer at the end of August, and so on. I was fully funded by a salary, even though because I worked under a contract. We signed a contract every year. Make a long story short, I always worked a second job. Okay, always worked a second job during the summer. And if I made sure it included that my daughter could be with me, so I didn't have to pay for childcare. And I wanted to spend time with my daughter as well. So, making a long story short, I came out ahead, like shockingly ahead on one of the months. I look back on that with my envelope system, like, what am I going to do with this? So I didn't take a go away vacation in a long time at that point, and I said, "You know what? Maybe we could squeeze in a couple of days out in Montreal." So, I remember that very fondly because I was like, "Oh," and I needed that break. We needed that break, so, we took a ride out up to Canada that year. It was fun. It was really, really good. So, there are things you could do. If you're debt free, you have obviously more options to do. But having a little extra money at the end of the month is always a nice thing. And you could always carry it over. Just put it like in your one of your favorite, as they say, favorite categories. I can't answer that for you. Would your favorite category be dining out? Would your favorite category be clothing? So, yeah. So maybe perhaps take that extra money and roll it into your favorite category, whatever that favorite category is. So, yeah. So there are a lot of things that we could do just by organizing your cash. I think of cash sometimes like a deck of cards. Yeah. A deck of cards, when you want to play the game of cards, right, properly, needs to be shuffled, right? It needs to be shuffled. It's not in any perfect order. We shuffle the deck. Okay. We make sure we have our 52 cards in place that should be there, a complete deck of cards, but we shuffle the deck before we play. So, in a way, when we take care of our finances, maybe we do it with the envelope system or some other tracking system of some sort. Okay. Sometimes we need to shuffle the deck. So if you're coming out with extra, such a problem, right, everybody? Tell me out there who minds getting a little extra at the end of the month? Nobody. Listen, then you could shuffle the deck, so to speak, in your favor. Does that make sense? To me, it makes a ton of sense. Now, how many people wouldn't mind the problem of having extra? I would say virtually no one. Okay. But how many people, when they figure out their budget, realize, there's a problem here. The numbers are not meeting up. One is wrong and the other one is too far away. Okay. Take the extra time. Maybe you made a math mistake. I'm no mathematician. That's why I'm laughing and chuckling. I am not a fan of math. I told my students that. I told the whole world that. I told the whole world here on this platform that. But I know this, numbers don't lie. I know this, we need math. Okay. So running away from the very tool that could help us, and that turned me into, which is ironic because I'm not a fan of math. That turned me into literally a bean counter. Now, I don't sit around counting beans, okay? But what I mean by that, I literally even know how many slices of bread are in the bread that I've been getting at a really amazingly low price. And yeah, I have an extra loaf in the freezer. 21 slices of bread for $1.07. I mean, seriously? And this is in the New York area. I'm not even kidding you. Okay. It is actually not even kidding you. So when you see something like that, do I have to tell you, stock up? No, 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 no. So get familiar with your categories, with your budgeting. Okay. It's important to understand your favorite categories. Paying your rent, is that your favorite category? No. It is an essential category, yes. No rent, no roof, okay? No mortgage, problems, problems, more problems. We don't want that. And as a matter of fact, one of the biggest things that I could ever recommend for anyone who is really really teetering on the edge, start at the beginning. We all start at the beginning, so don't let anybody think they didn't. We all start at the beginning someplace, okay? Calculate. I will always recommend this for myself or for anyone. I'm like, I have a fetish about it that I want to make sure I have a certain number ahead of time that I know my bills will always be covered the following month. That is peace of mind. That is peace of mind on a smaller scale. That is peace of mind in an achievable manner. Okay. So if this video helps out anyone, I'm really happy. Don't hesitate to play it back. Not the whole thing if you don't want to play the whole thing. Maybe there are certain parts of this video that makes, a lot of sense. I mean, that's the beauty part of an audio video, radio style. So you could go about whatever it is, other stuff you're doing, because in the busy world that we're living in, to be able to do a couple of things at the same time saves time. So anyway, I really hope that I helped someone today. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate everybody's time. Don't forget that I upload every single day of the week, including Saturday and Sunday, just for the record to let you know. And every once in a while, I'll throw a bonus video on over the weekend every once in a while. Not guaranteed, but what is guaranteed thus far, unless I change my mind, but I think the viewers are enjoying it. You guys are telling me so. The daily longer uploads at 5 a.m. They do make a heck of a lot of sense because in the past, what I used to do is I had a video about 8 to 10 minutes come up in the morning. Then I had another one coming on, or no, excuse me, switch it around. I had a shorter one in the morning, and then I had a bigger one in the afternoon. That's too many extra trips for you to remember to come back to the channel. It wasn't fair to you. It wasn't fair to me, in my opinion. And if you like my videos, oh, please click like. That is That is so helpful. I can't tell you how helpful clicking like is. I really appreciate click like, share, and don't forget, if at all possible, super thanks are welcome. No amount is too small. I need it to use it to help support my actual technical stuff on this channel. It's very, very helpful to me. That's it. All right. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care of yourself and your amazing family. Thank you.